Hey everybody, what's up? And welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be over the next episode of Walking Dead. Daryl Dixon, we got a little sneak peek here today, and I kind of just want to go through it and break it down with you and kind of talk about what we could expect out of this episode and what they're kind of trying to deliver within this sneak peek, and just as far as where we're going in the Daryl Dixon series as a whole. So we first open with the sneak peek with Laurent, Isabel, Sylvie, and Daryl all on the way to their mission, and they're just kind of discussing here back and forth. Daryl is marching ahead of everybody, listening to their conversation, and they're talking just about general things about the trip itself and what they're going to expect, and just kind of saying Daryl's lost and all this, but they're not really realizing, or they don't know obviously, that Daryl is a tracker. He knows where he's going most of the time, how to get places, how to follow trails of different things. And as they're having this conversation, Isabel kind of breaks off and gets ahead up there with Daryl. He just kind of mumbles at her that you need to tell him the truth and just let him know what we're really up to. And then in this next shot, we see that she does not really take that lightly. She does not want to just kind of go off and tell Laurent what's going on, what they're doing. So she replies with, "You don't have children, do you?" Little does she know, no, he does not have his own biological children, but he was responsible for a lot of kids within the Alexandria settlement, and obviously he sees Rick's kids and many of the kids throughout that settlement as his own, and as he was protecting them and providing them emotional support and just being there for them as a father figure, because as we all know, Rick is not there, he's gone, and he took it upon himself to look after these kids. So he's not going to explain this to her. He's not the type to really open up and everything. And in this next shot, you see Daryl kind of stop and take a pause, because we start hearing this whistling in the background, and it gives you major Negan and the Saviors kind of thing. It's not the same whistle, obviously, because that would just be crazy, but it is a whistle nonetheless, and it kind of throws you back in that direction of thinking about some of the first times that Daryl and the rest of his group heard that whistle just off in the distance, and that was the Savior's calling card to let you know that we are nearby and we're getting ready to pounce on you. So this group that he's coming across is kind of doing a similar thing. And we see that Isabel herself is kind of stopping, and she's noticing this whistle as Daryl is telling them all, be quiet, listen. And then out of nowhere, this arrow comes buzzing out of the tree line and hits a tree next to them, or maybe a telephone pole, I'm not sure. And so they all take cover against that tree line as Daryl's kind of lining up to see this person up in the hill. This archer, obviously, he fires off the shot and then he takes off running. This is obviously a setup. He's wanting to lure whoever he's shooting at into the woods to follow him, and that automatically lures Daryl in. He takes off up the hillside towards this person. As he's chasing them, the other three stay back and just kind of be his backup or what have you. And obviously, they're probably not going to rush to follow him just in case something does go wrong. And we see this kid running down the hallway of this building or what have you, and he's got a gas mask on. It's obviously just to conceal his identity and maybe come off as threatening or whatever. And as Daryl is making his way and he lines up a shot, he actually gets hit from behind with what looks like a sledgehammer, so that had to have really fucking hurt. But he's laying on the ground, and the next thing we see is this shot, and the sneak peek ends. And so I want to say that these people, I could definitely see them being the kids that we saw from the dinner scene that we got from the full season sneak peek. And these kids are they're doing what they have to protect themselves, and maybe this is just a routine thing for them to lure people and maybe rob them. So we don't know what direction they're going to take as far as when Daryl gets back to the dinner table with these kids and the community that he gets himself into with Isabel and the rest of his little group that he has, and being introduced to what I believe his name is Lou, the one guy that says that is Paris crying in the full season sneak peek. But this is obviously a little community that is probably composed mostly of children. These are children that have grown up or were born during the end of the world, and this is the only world they know. And just so it'll be interesting in the second episode that is due to drop here in about 6 hours roughly, or about 6-7 hours, somewhere around there, depending what coast you're on. I'm in the Midwest, so probably here about 3 in the morning. That'll be about midnight over on the West Coast. So ahead of the second episode, we got this little sneak peek, and so I'm really interested to see what they're going to do, because I believe this is probably the episode that we're going to see some flashback scenes as far as Isabel's concerned, seeing the beginning of the fall of Paris, and that kind of stuff always gets me revved up, because I don't know why, but maybe I just have a thing about chaos, and I want to see how things went down and how she dealt with it, and the things that she saw that kind of tipped her off, that something's not right here. What's going on with this? You got people attacking other people in the street. You just got shit going off everywhere. And so I'm excited to see those scenes, if those do happen to come on in this episode or the next. So I really think this whole part of the episode, they're going to see them be picked up by this group and possibly be interrogated, just to confirm whether or not they're a threat, or maybe they've been following them for a while. There's all kinds of different variables involved as far as where these kids come from, what their motives are for capturing Daryl and luring him into this trap and everything. So I'm excited to see this next episode, obviously. Now, as far as Daryl Dixon, there's already a lot of people saying that this show is better than Dead City. Now, I do have some thoughts about that. Yes, I want to say, so far, I've enjoyed Daryl Dixon more than I enjoyed Dead City. Dead City was good, mind you. I like that we're seeing more stories with characters that are famous from the comics and from the early seasons of the TV show. And so I'm excited to see more stories revolve around them. I like the fact that in Dead City we got a little throwback or a little callback to the early days of Negan with one of his old crew. And as far as that's concerned, I didn't care for, I guess, the main plot of the story, Herschel being kidnapped and all this, and Maggie still, after all these years, I can understand where she's coming from, obviously, but it's holding this grudge, not letting this anger go, and all she's really doing is just passing this anger on to her son. But again, I can understand, obviously, where she's coming from, because you can't just let that shit go. But it's been several years. It's been, I want to say, almost a decade since Glenn's death, and Negan has gone on to prove himself more than once that he is not the man that he was. He's willing to fight their enemies and be a part of their community, even though he's going to be rejected in the long run. But this is him still kind of making good on his word to get her son back. So as far as Dead City is concerned, yes, it was good. But so far with Daryl Dixon, even though we've only seen one episode, the premise of the show I'm getting more excited about, because of the simple fact we're going to finally get some answers that we've wanted for 2 or 3 years now, as far as the variants are concerned, as far as possibly CRM's involvement in the whole thing, and the secrets that surround them, and what they're doing with these walkers as far as experimenting on them, and the things that they're doing to them. And, is the group that took Daryl CRM themselves, or are they just collaborators with CRM? We don't know yet, but that's the parts of the show that's getting me excited, and what I can say with some confidence and with some comfort, that yes, Daryl Dixon so far is better than Dead City. But obviously the pending show that is Rick and Michonne is going to top all of them, because it's a story about 2 characters we want to see, that we've been dying to see ever since Rick left the show, and wrap it up properly. Still not sure how they're going to do that with just one freaking season, but I guess I have to have a little confidence in the show writers and the showrunners and whatnot. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like down below, leave your comments, and as always, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. So until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.